Well, hey there guys, Conceptual Concepts 6.9 here in the beautiful Pacific Northwest. And today I'm here to talk about a gun that's near and dear to my heart as an AK guy. It is the KP9. I don't know about you, but having a direct clone of a Russian Vichez submachine gun is pretty rad. And I've been shooting these for quite a while, little over 3 years now, and I love them. And everyone who's shot one with me has ended up buying it. I really love this gun. I can't recommend it enough. Unfortunately, KUSA is dead, and things are getting a little hard to get for him. One of my friends just picked one up, and he's like, "Hey, do you know where I can get some magazines, or can you buy some off of, or can I buy some off of you?" And my response was, "Unfortunately, I don't have enough. Like, I wish I had more. I think I have like 15 magazines for this, and I definitely like to have more." But this has been a love affair for me. This is actually my second one. During the Zenitco hype, right after the sanctions on Russia, when Russia invaded Ukraine, Zenitco went crazy, and my previous KP9 was Zenitco'd out. It had a full handguard, had the charging handle, had all the cool Zenitco stuff on it, and so I sold it for a profit. Unfortunately, like Gunbroker, it is you bid, you buy, right? And so I made a profit off of it. And ever since I sold it because I had my Century Arms AP5P at that point, my MP5K clone. And the MP5K clone is pretty rad, but it doesn't quite scratch the comm block itch that you get off of the KP9. So let's go over everything I've experienced with this gun and my overall thoughts, and I'm going to save you some time if you want to end it right here. If you can find one and you can find magazines, buy one, because it is one of the favorite guns that I own. So I've owned two. Again, sold the previous one, and I missed it so much that I ended up getting another. You'll see this one is not Zenitco'd out. That's because Zenitco has been going for crazy prices since the sanctions. And for a PCC, I don't really feel the need to have it fully Zenitco'd. But let's get into the feels. This gun makes an incredibly good suppressor host. I really enjoy it. I think it is incredibly good for shooting. The one thing with all AKs is this dust cover, having this opening right by your eyes. Unfortunately, gas does come through there, so the Smokies leather gasket fixes that issue entirely. This gun also sounds incredibly good. It's a blowback gun. My previous one, when I sold it, I want to say I had close to 5,000 rounds through it, and my boss at the gun shop I worked at told me I had to clean it before I sold it because there was just carbon all through the receiver. Never had any malfunction. So it is an incredibly reliable gun. And it took me almost an hour to clean because I was having to run Q-tips in all the crevices because it was just caked in carbon. Incredibly reliable. Also, if you run AKs a lot, this allows you some training transfer. Now, not all of it. Unfortunately, the magazine release, while it operates like an AK, it's got that little tab here. It's a straight insert and pull out, unlike the Rock and Lock AK, which is going to hurt your training transfer for your reloads. But the rest of the feels, the charging handle, the safety especially, because AK safeties are usable. It's not hard. So a lot of guys say keep the safety off and use it and be super cool and all that. Shoot all your targets, and once the threat's gone, flick the safety on. You don't have to do that. Just blade your fingers, move it down, and slide your hand back up. So it affords you that training capability on the safety. I don't even think about the safety anymore on any of my AKs. So as a training tool, it's pretty good. The only thing it's going to hurt you on recoil impulse, and your magazine changes. But that's with most PCCs, with the exception being the CMMG Banshee, when you're using their AR mag inserts with a standard AR lower. Those are pretty rad. But pretty cool training tool. Been super, super reliable. The recoil impulse is sharper than my MP5K because it is a blowback gun. Now again, I have told you this is incredibly reliable, and that's because it's blowback. My MP5K, I have to clean fairly regularly. I have to keep it lubed throughout, and usually I find I start malfunctioning between 1,000 and 1,200 rounds, even lubed, if I'm not cleaning it out. So this guy, I had quite a few thousand, 3,000 to 5,000 on my first one without any oil or cleaning. Worked fine. Another thing is, I was shooting it a lot during the winter, and quite a few times when we were looking at ridiculously cold weather, like -10 degrees, and you guys in Alaska and Wisconsin and stuff, laugh at me all you want, that's fair, but where we live, -10 is pretty damn cold. And this gun ran incredibly reliable. At USIG MPX, I had an MPX when I moved up here, and it really struggled. Once you reach the single digits, I was having a lot of malfunctions with that. Versus this, I sold my MPX, I kept my KP9 because it just worked in our environment. Handling's good, recoil impulse is a little more snappy, but less than a CZ Scorpion. Past that, the trigger on the KP9, the standard, and I'm gonna remove this because it is loaded. That's how I store my guns. Empty here. But the trigger is pretty good on the KP9. These will fit the ALG triggers, so you can get much, much better triggers, but we're gonna go ahead, no one downrange, pull the trigger. About a 4.5 pound trigger on that. Not a crazy amount of take up there, and the reset has a good amount of spring pressure pushing your finger back forward. So you can get decent splits, but it's not a match trigger by any means. But really, you should consider buying one of these for the history of this. This is a direct clone of the Russian gun minus the full auto. It is a purpose-built gun. The receiver is actually a little shorter than an AKM because, again, they could fit it. They could shrink it down, not having the locking lugs from the AK. You could shrink it down and make it a little smaller. And one of the really cool facts in history on this, now Forgotten Weapons has gone over that in depth, but one of the really cool history parts about this is both Dragunov's son, you know, the guy who created the Dragunov, and Mikhail Kalashnikov's son, the guy who created the AK-47, were the team that designed this system. So just historically, it's really cool that the kids from two of the most prominent Soviet-designed small arms designed this. And I just think it's really, really cool. Now, let's go over how I have my particular one set up, then we'll end. So mine is set up with one of the KP9 triangle folding stocks. What's cool about this is it actually locks on the barrel pin, locks in place, and to unfold it, you lift it up and fold it out. So really, really simple, really solid. And for me, a locking folding stonk is important, right? I think it's really important that it stays in place, especially if you're storing it or for anything vehicle borne. You don't want that stonk flopping around, maybe playing with your sling, causing some issues. It's just much better if it locks in place. Past that, I have the Magpul K2 grip. I think the K2 grip is by far my favorite AK grip. Now, a lot of guys are recommending US Palm. That is an incredibly solid grip as well. I had one on my previous Wassers and I really, really liked it. But I found the K2 grip pulls my finger away far enough where I can get that front pad forward, and again, safety Nazis, and pull the trigger fairly reliably. Now the safety, I really enjoy the safety. Anyone who's been watching the channel for a long time knows I hate the enhanced safeties. It's because of the tension required. It has to be looser than a standard safety to be able to activate that. You just don't have the leverage you have reaching all the way forward here. But the lever has a really good ledge here. Really like that. The safety is definitely usable. Now, this is not a night vision gun for me, so I am running a Holosun 403B. I'd really rather have a 403R because I think this tray system is kind of hot trash. I've seen a lot of these screws strip and have to be warranted through Holosun. I just think if you have the battery cap, it just works better. But you know, take it or leave it. I got this for cheap, and I'm running a Geisley mount just because I have one. If I was running night vision, I would be running Holosun Aims, a aim point, or an EOTech. I wouldn't be running this. Moving forward, I am running an Ultimac rail. This is my only gun currently with an Ultimac rail, but I believe there are better options than the Ultimac rail for modern AKs now. Just because the gas tube on a piston AK gets really hot, and the Ultimac does that. And with the need for magnification on the intermediate caliber rifles, in my opinion, you're going to want a rail in the back anyways. So I'm running the Ultimac on this because it is a blowback gun. There's no gas coming through this gas tube. The gas tube is actually more of a bolt carrier group direction assist, I guess, like it's a guide, because the bolt carrier group has extra mass going in here. But no gas is coming through this. It's not getting crazy hot, so I'm running this. Past that, I am running a Romanian dong grip. It does require a little bit of fitment, and with a Dremel tool and a hacksaw, not the best tools, I made it work, because you need about 1/3 the tab you have on an AKM for this. Past that, I'm running a Surefire dual fuel here. Surefires, I've just really grown to trust them. So lastly, I'm running a rugged tri-lug adapter for 1/2x28 and an Omega 9K. I really think tri-lug is the way with suppressors. The one thing you do want to do when you're mounting tri-lug mounts is you want to mount on the same lug on the suppressor as you are on the can. So I don't know if you can see that, but I have a little mark here. That's for the top lug, and that's how I mount this every single time. Mounting it on the same lug affords you a reliable shift in impact. It shifts the impact the same way every time. And one thing with tri-lug you'll find is if you mount the can on different lugs every time, it will shift the impact pretty significantly. So definitely mark your can and mount it to the same lug every time. Lastly, I am using a Swift Design and Textiles sling. Again, can't recommend their slings enough, especially for a small company, just startup. He is, as far as I know, still only doing Instagram. Go ahead and hit him up. The padded slings are $60 shipped, and the non-padded slings are only $50 shipped. So you're saving some money, you're supporting a small business, and they are incredibly good slings. Lightfighter Anonymous did a really good review on them, and he words it way better than me. I'll go ahead and put a card here somewhere for his review on their slings. Now, again, I'm under no obligation, not receiving anything back from this, but I just really like these slings, and I think they're way more affordable than most of the alternatives. So just buy these. I want to see him grow. He's a really nice guy. Justin's his name. So lastly, let's get into some alternatives, because unfortunately we can't get these anymore. I haven't really spoken well of Palmetto overall. Out of the 3 products, only one I've given a positive review so far. But everyone I've known who's run the AKV from Palmetto has absolutely loved it. It's run really, really well, and the aesthetics are very, very close to this. The design's a little different, unfortunately, and fortunately, because these magazines, the KP9 magazines, are incredibly hard to find now, and the AKV takes CZ Scorpion mags, so very affordable, very available, right? Next up would be like the Romanian Draco 9, imported from Century Arms. That guy takes Glock magazines. From what I know, those are really reliable. It's really hard to fuck up a blowback gun, so hopefully Century managed. Don't have the best history with Century myself. If you have questions, let me know, but Century has not done me right overall. But their Draco 9 seems to be pretty good. I mean, there's that. And I really think that's about all that's available on the market right now for an AK9 in 9mm. But this is a really rad gun if you can get one. Really cool to have for the historical reasons, for the collector reasons, and it's just a really, really good gun to shoot. I've had 2 of them. I love them. They shoot incredibly, incredibly well. Again, KUSA, I think I've said this on 3 or 4 videos, but I love the company they started out as. They were really innovating. They were bringing Russian blueprints to the US for the first time, and they were really motivated. And as they sold and as they grew, they sold to another company. They got kind of trashy. Some of the stuff they were doing reminded me a lot of Strike Industries, where you've just got flashy custom stuff, versus I think most AK guys would really have preferred that they stuck to the original blueprints. I don't think they sold a lot of their custom guns, which might be a mistake on my part. So correct me there if I'm wrong. And then they just kind of went bankrupt because they overbought stuff. Like their SHOT Show booth when I went in 2020 was huge, and it was on the main floor. I don't think they were making the money to afford it, and they were not paying their parts suppliers, so they went bankrupt. They owed millions of dollars by the end of it. I remember I pre-ordered one of their KR104 SBRs. I didn't actually pre-order it. On their website, they said that it was available for sale. I gave them quite a bit of money. I think it was like $1,200 or $1,300. And 6 months later, I had not received an email notification. So I emailed them and requested a refund on my KR104. Because later they had switched it to this is a pre-order. I think that was because they couldn't get the parts for it. About 6 to 8 months later after that, I found the KP104s came on sale and bought one immediately. But they really dicked around with me on that, and I was not appreciative. I think that by the end, they were a pretty trash company. But they were making Russian blueprint guns, which is really cool, only way you can get about it. So that's my rant today. It's a little unhinged. Hopefully you liked it. If you do, like, comment, and subscribe.